Would you like me to mitigate it?
We have to ensure that you're covered to do it through the town, but if you want to speak to town manager, if you're okay to do that, I'm sure it'll be fine.
What happens if she's not here?
You go to vote.
Okay. Or is the mayor in charge now?
He does take over when the town manager is gone.
So if you think that, is that a priority?
I have walked it and it's unsightly. Is there a risk there? Probably not of the tree falling, but maybe someone running into an area.
Because there is a bump out around it that you can go around. It's not like the trail is completely blocked. So there is a, you can walk around.
The reason I was asking, I'd like to finish the steps at the pool house. And then as soon as I do that, I could flip over and cut up that.
This is the tree on contrail.
Correct.
Jesse, do you mind if I sit here? Somebody can be presenting or can I sit there just be more comfortable for the course?
So yes, I know that you filled out every volunteer we were comfortable. I think as long as you notify town staff, the mayor, we're more than covered.
And what do I do with the cuttings? We need, there's no place to take the cuttings. I'll take it up.
Do we want to, is this something we need to move on immediately?
I can't. I think the finishing the steps because they're
Yeah.
open right
Mhm.
now was my priority, but after I get done that, I can take care of that contract.
I have saw, I can work at it.
Sharp saw too.
Oh, no, I have a big saw.
Oh, you have a big saw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that my little 12-inch saw, I'm gonna cut that thing.
Cut some limbs off.
The limbs I can do, but it's the body of the tree is about 2 feet thick.
So let's
We can-
ask town staff for.
They've got multiple chainsaws. So that's my intention is to use their equipment on the trunk.
Yeah. Okay. I have to go over and visit them anyway. I've got one of the town's weed whackers. I should return that over time. I'll take that. Start that tomorrow morning. That's appropriate.
I can't help you tomorrow morning though.
Yeah,
No, it's not appropriate until we at least have. talked to town
Direction?
staff And get direction from them.
okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I knew what, I'm coming in late and I wanted to make sure I
Let's,
came up to speed.
if you want to, we can visit with Dusty.
Mhm. I'll start that process and see what his,
I have already asked him about it and I got a non-answer.
okay, he knew of this situation a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I know.
As chair, I agree that we are not public works
Mhm.
and we can't vigilante go. And what Aaron makes, we'll be working outside the scope of what we've been approved to do, right? And I don't want to put that at risk
Mhm.
or create a false economy within public works that we have extra employees doing. In fact, we have one Saskia volunteer.
What?
That's not me.
Yes. So Jay, to catch you up, we were going through last minutes
Yes,
at all of the action items. And I believe that we now talked to them all.
But Jay wasn't here when we talked. So Jay, you weren't here at the last meeting, and I think when I sent out the minutes, I also said you had an action item about going around to all the memorial benches. And
Yes, I have
and
not been able to complete that,
that is.
but I
fine.
will do that within the next week.
Yeah.
Within that time period, pancake breakfast happened.
Yeah, no, we're all busy.
Busy.
Yep.
So we've been through the last meeting's minutes. Any other changes or additions or corrections to this? Your motion to accept them,
I move.
second,
Good.
all in favor?
I,
All right.
Going on to new business. We have coming up next Wednesday, the public forum for the still being items. And we wanted to do some general prep work for that today. It's not supposed to see.
it has a hard time. It does, oh, there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, there's minutes. I don't know how to flip this on its side in this
No.
format. So has the committee had a chance to review this, and do you have any comments in preparation for next week's meeting?
I would say the biggest thing is, or not the biggest thing, one thing that stands out to me is where the two pathways go up to the benches from UPass. Those, no, not that one, not the social, those brand new ones. I don't see the necessity of those. Because you're gonna have to have multiple crosswalks, and you can't have that many crosswalks within a certain distance on the road. So I think that, taking those off, going to UPass and just having the little spur that comes off of the social trail that should be enough.
Yeah, so having this.
Yeah.
And a turnaround
Right,
and way back out,
right.
instead of these two other exits.
Yes.
I agree, because that creates a need for two additional sidewalks.
Yeah,
But still keep this area in play as an area.
Right,
By
right,
an eventual location.
right.
Now, the bench location that's adjacent to those two spurs or two connections. Is that to be regraded? It isn't obvious from this how the grading, if the grading's to be altered or.
I believe that it will have to be, yes.
Okay, because it's kind of blocked off with the. With the change in color there. Maybe it's just the yellow. Are those new grade lines?
No. This yellow line? Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no question this will have to be regraded.
I believe it's gotta be cut.
This led to the same discussion led to the idea of creating a walkway on this side of Hughes. Because there is none now, and people are forced out into the road when they're walking, even though there's a trail, the ADP trails on the other side, they still walk on this side, so. If we were going to do it, this would be the time to do it.
I agree, because if this came on down and you were walking towards the four-way stop. And crossed here, you would still be on this path, so I agree that a walk path along this that goes down, all the way down to here where the sidewalk would come across would be important for safety.
It connects to it would connect to the social trail.
Yeah, but there isn't.
And you say sidewalk, so we're not pouring concrete.
No, walk path.
Okay,
That's
thank-
better.
yeah,
But it's going to require some terracing
yes, it will.
because of the grade.
Oh, yes, it
of the
will.
ground.
Yeah, it
Just
does.
if you go down, you push this down, isn't the area or the other way, I'm sorry. To the north, isn't that area fairly steep? right where your cursor is. It's fairly steep right now, and there's retaining walls on the properties above. Would that lead you to would there be enough space for a real walkway there? That seems to be fairly steep, as my recollection.
I think. um, I think I want to approach this as. What are hardscaping improvements that we need to make?
Got it.
What are landscaping improvements that we would like to make?
Mhm.
And then turn this back to the landscape architect and to the architect. To start thinking about the engineering.
Okay.
What's the engineering of the split path? It's not for us to figure that out.
Okay.
I think it's,
Yeah,
but it's for us to say that we need one. And so are we all in favor
Yeah,
of having a walkout on this?
yes, I think so.
Yeah. that would definitely be useful.
Well, you'd have walkway on either side of you past them.
Yes.
So you would have a walkway by the Stilling Basin, and then across you'd have the ADT.
And if pedestrian friendly as a park, then we should provide a walkway for it.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So then do we all agree? Stopped again. So we all agree of removing these two doglegs.
I think so. I think that is just, that would be because that is pretty steep. And that would be extra.
And it may look good, but that's a big squeeze.
It
of
is.
Space in there.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I think this will look, I think this beautification site is great, and
Mhm.
I'm happy that we did it, but I think adding this is.
Well, then you'd have to connect it into the other walkway. I mean, it would all look like walkway.
And if we decide we want these later. We can add them in. Since we have no budget, let's not. I think taking out anything that's fluff is.
Yeah.
Is a good idea. What else?
Well, I know that we have like 3 areas that we're beautifying, up on Hotel Street. On the Stilling Basin itself, and then down at the stop sign. We do really have constraints on water. And it's totally exposed to the sun. There's not going to be any shade for any plants. So I'm almost thinking one of these areas should be more of a xenoscape, where you have very drought tolerant. I think where the benches are, we should really make it lush and pretty. But down by the stop sign, I can see yuccas or some rocks or boulders. Something low, yeah, absolutely low, because you don't want to mess with line of sight. But I think one of these areas we could really make it more of a drought tolerant plants versus something that we have to really water a lot.
These are larger trees here in that plan. And that concerned me because the visibility at that corner would be cut down.
Yeah. So I'm gonna summarize that. By saying. Drought tolerance. Low growing. Plants at stop sign.
Or line of sight,
Where we should protect line of sight.
Or where did we wind up on irrigating this area?
Well, I think we've. Not wound up anywhere, but I think that we all have the understanding that it's gonna have to be irrigated in order for this to be a successful. Thing. So we're gonna have to put the irrigation numbers into the fundraising bid to try to raise funds for the park. I did speak, so Carla Chapman donated her time to put this together for us.
Oh, awesome.
And she reminded me that, this is zero scale landscaping plan, which is different from a zero scape landscaping plan.
I guess I don't know the definition.
Yeah, it was a little confusing for me too, but I think she's gonna attend the meeting. I think she's gonna attend the meeting. I've asked her to if she's available. We did talk, so she and I talked about a temporary watering system that could be used in the summer. That could be ran from a neighboring property's water source.
So it's a hydrant
Yeah, there is.
on the property.
That's down near the stop sign.
Well, there's one up on the hill. There was.
Yeah, it still is.
Okay.
Is it active?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jay, will you put that on your to-do list?
Yeah.
The closest neighbor that I know that would say yes would be, I have an irrigation system at the Holiday House, which is. There's one house between us and this property, so we'd have to have permission from him to cross.
And crossing would also, he does not have a culvert on his property, and it would be a surface line that they have to pass over. That might be a problem.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel certain there's city water on the property.
I think we can check that out. I was also, someone I was visiting with, and, you know, if there's water in the Stilling Basin, having a pump of some sort, using that available water. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work, but, and we talked about a water wheel. I mean.
Basically, a sump pump in the Stilling Basin itself
right.
would do that job,
Yeah, I
but it
mean,
would only.
but you'd have to wait, and I mean, you'd have to, that would be dependent on raining and the water in the Stilling Basin, so I don't
And
know.
the slime,
And the slime.
So,
Slime,
there'll be slime in that
I mean algae.
algae, yeah, and they'll stop up the,
Um,
unless it's, filtered.
they-
And the particulates that we're trapping,
Exactly.
so that's built in.
so Jay, if you'll check on.
Yes.
Before the next meeting to see if we do have city water there.
before the Stilling Basin meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Which is next Wednesday.
all right, I'd actually start with the fire department, but I'll talk to Chief Murphy. And work that through to see what the status of those hydrants might be.
It's not a,
It's
not a hydrant, it's a pump.
It's a hand pump.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's red and it just.
Yeah,
And I think it's locked. It has a lock
so
on it, so I think it'd be,
Dusty would be the.
yeah,
Okay.
for that.
yeah.
Mike, let's go to the boulders. On the. Yeah, right here. Do we know what's in this space?
That's where there's a berm of asphalt has been added through that, along that edge.
Well, yeah, on the edge, but landscaping wise, what is designated in this wide area where the boulders are?
Nothing has been on this plan.
So it's just grass and weeds.
It's-
Yeah.
Dirt. It'll have to be native grass or it will be weeds.
Well, would we like to see a little landscaping around the boulders to kind of soften that? The effect of those things? Like some mountain grass.
I think it's a question. What do we want here? Because I've heard, we did have some people say in the first public meeting that they didn't want the boulders there.
Yeah.
And we've also had people say that they like them, so I can, it's a question.
Well, one of the comments about the boulders was that the level on the boulders was the concern from one of the people. If they were dropped down or depressed a little bit, just to reduce, they'd still function as a barrier. We've got a little bit of a barrier there with the asphalt contouring, but if the boulders are down a bit, they would both be more stable and would not impede other people's views.
A lower profile.
Yes, yeah, dropping them down 2 feet would accomplish that.
Some of those boulders aren't 2 feet.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. No, some of them, a couple of them are quite substantial. I'll be in that neighborhood and it's just up the street from my home, but I'll go through that. I may solicit a couple of neighbors' comments if I get the chance to talk to people. Jesse, if you have any of the names of people who brought up those comments before.
They've all been invited back to
Okay,
the second.
okay, good.
So any other committee input?
I don't think so. I love that, it's suggested to have clover. I think clover is a very, very wise choice because then it's low growing. The deer will eat it, but they won't pull it, they won't kill it. It's, either the crimson clover or the regular clover, and the crimson clover you can have, that has that beautiful red bloom on it, so.
And is that already in this plan? Or
It is.
suggested addition?
I think right there, go up, keep going, and it says crimson clover, 1 pound,
Oh, yeah.
and then spring clover mix, so it's just all these clovers that. And we have clover at our place, and the deer love it,
It's Rocky Mountain
and the
Wildflower.
wildflower mix, that would be beautiful together.
Yeah, and this was the initial mix that we used for the Aspen Grove Memorial Walk behind the Lake Terrace, which is now stunning.
Yes,
So it reseeds itself every year, which is.
yes, and that's what you want, is those annuals that reseed themselves. Is that
So,
where you have the Mexican hats? Yeah.
so am I running this meeting? Not this meeting. The meeting next week, the meeting. Am I running that or is the town manager?
She has offered if she needs to facilitate, but I believe we as PRT are running it. And I think she was also going to facilitate if people wanted to come in through Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
So sort of my idea then, and facilitating it is to mark up what the committee has already talked about. And go through that first, so that we don't repeat everything multiple times. And then to divide the park into quadrants. And just discuss them as individual quadrants, so we can stay on track and
I
not
think that's a good idea.
jump all over the place.
Mhm.
That'll work for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's just without the color. So any other discussion on this one?
Oh, I think that choke cherry,
No, the red.
don't know if that's a good choice for this area.
And Lisa has said the same thing, because we have so many of those trees that are dead or dying around Gazebo Lake and up on Squires, Flagpole Memorial Park.
They're just not hardy enough.
They just aren't.
So I'm gonna. Yes.
And I think those were the ones, I think the only place that those were put was at the stop sign. right?
No, there were a
There were
couple
some
others,
others,
but the ones
okay.
at the stop sign.
Yeah, they definitely would not be a good choice at the stops.
You know, that just does say a Canadian red cherry. That could be
Maybe it's different.
a cold weather variety.
I don't know. I just know, I'd sent this to Lisa, Inga and Danny Hines, who did the triangle garden, and, she was concerned about the red cherry tree.
Okay.
All right. So there's no other discussion then about the park. I'm gonna move on to, business item 5B, which is scheduling a work session for the gazebo and the bridge repair. Go ahead, Don.
May I just backtrack just for one sentence?
course,
A tree that may do well here is called a golden rain. And they're planted in front of the pantry,
Golden,
rain, RAIN.
I'm gonna have Carla check that, because what would be nice as we're thinking through our master plan. For the parks and for beautification in general, is that we. Add on to successful plants that are already in places in town, so if they're growing there and doing a nice job. I should plant one in front of green box. In the spot that we don't have a tree anymore. And we should start plugging in, instead of going with something all new. Let's plug in things that are successful.
and that'd be great to provide that list to residents and say, these are successful in this area.
And we do have the list that Carla
Right.
did for us last year
Yes.
with the approved, with the suggested. List of plants and trees for
Yes.
town.
Yep, yep.
Okay, good. I'm gonna provide that document as a resource again. I think we did that in the past.
Yes. Then I can add it to.
You and I might get together if we can and work on the PowerPoint for this.
Sounds good. I'm sore.
If I ask for help to do something, it also makes me set aside the time to do it.
Or makes me remind you to do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's okay. We function well.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so Don, we're gonna move on to setting. I think really what we need to do is schedule a time
Yes.
to dedicate to working towards an RFP for the gazebo. Park renovation stage 2, which is a bridge. No more than 2 of us can be on this little subcommittee, or it becomes a meeting. So, I don't want to leave Jay out, but Don, you have to lead that little subcommittee.
Yes.
Me?
Well,
You're
we
the-
got the grant off of all of your, your report.
Oh, yes,
He's
yes.
the only one knowledgeable enough to run the thing.
Okay,
So. If it's the 2 of us. Who else? Who else should we have to be part of it? Should it be?
You mean someone non-committee wise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And we don't have to have anything. But it could be,
is Mike Penman going to be bidding on it?
I have no idea, I would assume so, it's probably best to leave them out of
Well, just let me think on it.
and maybe it's better. She'll have to approve our work, so we might as well work through it.
Whatever you,
let's set a time for you and I. And we will start with the two of us, see how far we get.
All right.
You want to set a time now?
Mm-hmm.
You want to set a time now to do that?
Yeah. Just tell me when you're free.
Could we do this Friday? Yeah, plans this Friday?
I'm at the pool house. So I could, assuming there's a volunteer at the front desk, I could pull away.
Do you want somebody to cover your time at the? Oh, no, we can't do Friday, I'm sorry. I was gonna like.
Let's tentatively set a time for Friday, see if I can make it.
You tell me what time works for you.
So at morning, I could probably pull away after I open up. Yeah, so 9 o'clock.
I mean, I can come to the full building and you can meet there.
Okay. Well, if we're going over to the gazebo. Are we going over to the gazebo
I don't know,
or the bridge?
but yeah, let's just do it at my office in case we need to walk over.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Next, is item 5C, week 2023, Jay, you want to report?
This is proposal. One second, it's wrong.
Nope, there.
Up with it. I sent a, this Alan Boyd, sent a, proposed, announcement or proclamation. It was sort of, templated from their standard Creek Week publication. Didn't commit us to any specific date, but gave us a 10-day window to hold a Creek Week, action. It is similar to prior actions and it covers covers history up here. It looked fairly solid to me, but I may have been too close to it. It's just it's boilerplate. I would assume they would give us the latitude to adjust and take part in the cleanup actions. Cleanup on our side would probably be very heavily and would unfortunately involve a fair amount of debris. Right now, there's several potential clogs in the culverts, particularly the culvert just down from the Earth Speaks art installation. And that may require Public Works support to clear. That's a bigger project than a lot of the garbage pickup and general and small debris. But it is some of the things, something that we have to consider going forward.
What are potential dates? Let's work backwards from cleanup day. What are the potential dates for a Creek cleanup day?
You get the date, but the creek cleanup is the last week in September through the first week in October.
So that gives us dates on September 30th or October the 7th.
I would go with October 7th because Friends had a trail work day on the 30th.
That would give us a bigger window for bringing for working in with Public Works for that larger set of tasks. And that's probably the bigger sticking point for us right now.
So, it sounds like then we need to make a recommendation to the Board of Trustees to read the proclamation about Creek Week and name the date of October 7th as our community cleanup.
Yep.
We do like that.
Well, you have to make a motion.
I will make a motion that,
Okay.
that October 7th is the best fit for our needs. And we recommend that the board take the letter as written and add and we can add the detail within the town actions that our cleanup on our community day will be on the 7th.
So we're moving to recommend to the Board of Trustees to adopt the proclamation Creek Week for 2023 and just correctly the date of our community cleanup is October 7th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Write an advisement.
Good job, Steve. Item 5G. Is the 2026 Historic Mountain Foundation gifts. And a brief discussion, I guess, about first steps. So to summarize, Jake, you weren't at the last meeting, so to summarize, the Kirkpatrick Family Fund, has suggested a 2026 gift to the community to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country and 150th year anniversary of Colorado. So I think they are looking at Pool Park as being a major gift, which means a renovation of the pool, potentially tennis courts, potentially adding pickleball courts. Definitely of interest to them, because I met with them about this week, is public restrooms in a welcome center that is more than a sign. Not to say that our sign is in any way bad, but it's the first step in the right direction. So a welcome center where you can actually walk in and have a place to go to the restroom and pick up trail maps and scan QR codes and have Wi-Fi. And, I think, and we can talk about where it goes from there. Do we tie this to the pool building so that we have year-round use of the pool building? That's a discussion point that we've been having for years. So this is an opportunity for us to garner more support for those ideas that we've been having and have some funding in place to do it. There's also a great potential to use the same work that we're doing for Pool Park. That's part of our basis plan for our Parks Master Plan, and we'll continue to for the grant to do that planning, which could stretch the Kirkpatrick dollars even further. So, I don't know, want to answer right now, but what do we need to do to plan this? We know that we've already got some existing ideas, so we need to pull those together. We need to have some community engagement about, some visioning for Pool Park. Like a name. What else?
So it's sort of concentrating on health and wellness, correct? Sort of, because you look at Pool Park in there, you got everything, you got a fitness court, you got basketball, pickleball, tennis, pool, playground, outdoor.
Shuffleboard.
There's one.
It's
there.
under a few inches. of-
I was never able to find it.
I don't
Really?
think it's suggested.
No, I never looked for it. I just knew it was there. And I can't imagine.
I love that idea. Is it Full Park? Is it Old Town Hall building?
I
Where is it?
I know, I mean, because I was thinking of health and wellness, if the community works together on garden where you're getting fresh vegetables and that was just something that,
So it almost seems like we need to focus on Full Park plan,
yes,
but at the same time,
think,
have the Parks
Yeah.
Master Plan here and say,
Yeah.
this doesn't really fit
You're right.
here, let's
Right.
move it
right,
over here.
right,
And really ask the support of town staff to start looking at any matching grants that could help us stretch the grant dollars.
so I guess,
Frequently, we're asked to match
right,
gifts and we don't have that match budgeted.
right.
So here's a time when we do.
Another question is timeline. I mean, obviously, 2026 deadline. Probably summer. So back that up probably what, a year? That's something we need to think about too, is how much time do we have for community engagement? How much time do we have before we put a final plan in place? I mean, we sort of need to back it up from the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
To,
So let's work in, I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
Let's work backwards from a Memorial Day 2026 ribbon cutting. Which means we need to be shovel ready Labor Day 2025.
yeah. What? You're doing all this work, Don. Okay.
We just buy down a big shovel.
So then there's probably. There's months of engineering
Mhm.
studies with the pool, with any kind of expansion or redoing of the pool. Equipment, there's long lead times for accessible playground equipment.
Mhm.
Yeah, it could be a year out. On just
Yeah.
ordering from
Yes,
China,
Mhm.
some playground equipment.
I think Nancy should be required to buy American made.
I wouldn't object to that.
So really.
There's setting priorities. For the expenditures of the money. So first go to the pool, then the tennis court. And then third, new recreational items.
So interestingly enough. As often as the case, Don, we don't have a budget yet. So we're gonna present the 5-star plan. And and see what it's approved.
and
But-
adjust from there.
So shovel ready 2025, I think maybe our concept plan has to be. Approved. By Labor Day of 2024.
I agree. So that is giving us basically a year of
Mhm.
community engagement, setting the overall plan, getting all those ideas filtered and funneled and massaged to what we want to do. And that's plenty. of
That's
time.
excellent, Nancy. You're so right. I mean, it really puts it in a good perspective.
Yeah.
That means we only have a few months to get started.
Yeah, exactly.
really
That's why I wanted to go do this exercise with the time, because it's like. We can't just say we're gonna do something next month, and next month we gotta be hitting the ground running. And bring in, I honestly think our committee needs to have those initial ideas. Just like the Stilling Basin, and then we present to the community And then we get those inputs, because we can't just go open-ended. So we, within the next few months, we should as a committee have a vision. And, work together, and it might be some work sessions that we do this on. And then, once we feel comfortable with what we want to present, then we reach out to the community and, get their feedback. That's the way I'm envisioning it.
Well, that should be done roughly by the end of those work sessions should have taken place before the turn of the year. So that a early spring or late winter review by the community finalizes a vision and that can be used to support engineering designs. That would have eventually be done by Memorial Day of 2020, initial conception, Memorial Day 2024. And that's when you start. That's when you're dovetail, you in parallel grant access or potential grant monies might be investigated by the town staff to apply against that plan. But you'd like to have a real plan with community support defined before you go into the detailed engineering.
Let me ask you a question about Silly Basin Park.
Okay.
We're getting ready to do our second community meeting plan. How many community engagements are reasonable for the Silly Basin Park project?
Just the two. I think we need to push it ahead after this meeting. I don't think that there's a lot, unless there's absolutely no consensus. Stilling Basin should be completed and tied up with this next meeting.
So 2, potentially 3, if there's a lot of new information.
There's difficulty, yeah.
But the concept, we really should be able to wrap up into
I agree.
no more than 3 community engagement pieces for Stilling Basin.
Yeah.
Is it the same for Pool Park? Certainly we can get into the weeds about the pool. But the concept, renovating the pool and 3, what is renovating the pool? Actually, replacing the equipment.
I have a pretty good idea.
But conceptually, we don't go to. That's, I think, community engagement in conceptual is super important. So that we're sure that the community is supporting themselves. Then we dig in and work from there independently. And then propose a plan. As the final.
I did a pretty, I believe, I did what I felt like was an in-depth study, after study of the master plan, King Mountain Falls master plan. And I have my fair share of criticisms of how it was conducted and put together. I definitely see some improvement on that process. One of the main improvements I saw was when we ask for general community input, it was such a broad spectrum that the firm that was doing the study took liberties with their suggestions in combining them. And they wound up with something that wasn't suggested at all. So I've always felt that a committee was kind of the beacon or the guiding light for the community. I think we can fairly represent the broad community in limiting the scope of input. And that way, when somebody says, oh, they put in some new children's swings or the musical swings. Everybody loved the musical swings, and we got our version of it. They feel like they did it, and it wasn't somebody up here in town hall that decided that for them. And I think if we manage to do that, we'll hit a home run with the community. I mean, there's always going to be the criticizers, but I'm not worried about them. Just if we can narrow their choices, so to speak.
So you'd almost present a palette. Here's the opportunities that we see that make sense.
Yeah.
You give them something a little more concrete to discuss.
Yeah.
And that'll move the process along.
Yeah.
That's like the Stilling Basin, working from that landscape plan.
Yeah.
Even if it needs changes as we start, we've got something to work from. So they're not suggesting let's put in a bandstand and
Well,
And
and
then
that's why I'm saying PRT as a committee comes up with the vision with some, limiting what, well, maybe limiting isn't the best word, but guiding the discussion with what we sort of vision.
So to get to our first community engagement piece, why don't we have 3 workshops
Yeah, I agree.
between now and the end of the year to come up with
Yes, the vision.
the concept.
Yeah.
The concept plan of the concept
There,
Precept.
preset.
is that a word?
Yeah.
That's for real?
It's
I can use that
comes
as a
before a concept.
Okay, preset.
And concurrently, I'm doing the same thing with Project Family Fund, to make sure that our visions stay.
Do you know if there will be any property acquisitions in this?
I mean, it hasn't been discussed. But if there's something appropriate, we should discuss it. For example, what would be appropriate, I think, would be to get a permanent easement on the Dorothy Contrail and consider improving that as part of this project.
And
That's a good
having,
one for the preset.
Yeah. and that would be a nice distillation for this plan, because that would make it more useful, more accessible.
But that brings up we need to define the scope of the project, the borders and the boundaries.
I've often envisioned a connection between Gazebo Park and Pool Park for community. Because like when we closed down that Gazebo Park that one day, she says, what am I going to do? I said, go over to the pool park. She went, oh yeah. You forgot it was over there.
Well, it's a different project. It's the American Discovery.
Yeah, right.
And all the potential on the Beverly Ocean property.
And I think
Well, I
there,
think we'll be working towards that.
There-
before the 2026.
whose property? Beverly,
Historic calls it the Beverly Ocean property.
Oh.
That's the property that we bought.
right.
Sort of behind your box.
There's already potential for a connector trail on the with the con, because that's all on town land with the exception of Green Box. I mean, we'd have to go through Green Box.
There's Green Box and then there's also the Gardner family. And the Dorothy Contrail cuts their property there by the horse pasture.
Where the big empty lot is.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually their
So
property.
that's
Where
what I'm
the
saying.
tree is.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'd have to get.
That's
an
what I'm
easement.
saying, we need to formalize easement
That's-
there, and they're supportive of that, but we need to strike while they are supportive.
Mhm.
Okay.
They want to have some say.
Do they own the entire property out to the road, out to Chipeta Park Road or UPass Road?
I believe they own it up until the right of way starts, yes.
Okay,
So.
What does
so
that
that's why we need to
include the
consider-
Brown's upholstery shop?
No, that's a second, that's another. That's another property owner that would have some say in this.
Yeah, because they, Okay.
We just digressed.
well, no, it's a concept to discuss. And our precept is that by limiting our borders, we're gonna hold this exclusive. Trying to develop a connector trail to gazebo parks outside the scope of this.
Personally, I think that we should work on that sooner. Like, getting that. Because coming up with improving the plan to that, that's something that. I'll really be part of. Things of you past trails with some funding, you can probably get that done. So, let's not put that on to, let's say, so have that right. Sort of like that.
No, and that would,
That can go on both ways for next year.
that can, and that would also help with, Rock Day was big. And we, as a committee, we were looking at expanding it down to, because Pool Park is not really used, the creek's not really used. But, we have a way that can go from the Gazebo Park down to the creek and the pool and utilize the pool park too. Then you've expanded. You're using more of your assets.
Well, we can't do that because there's a tree across the trail. Abandon that idea.
not sure we're gonna whip.
Trash cans would be gone.
I thought you were gonna whittle that tree down into chairs for all these big.
Okay, so these are you, are you keeping up on that? Please, plan.
I got it all. 3 before the.
Five line.
2024.
So, I would put, that. So that really is just 9 months. Then.
Like I'm saying, that's the reason I wanted to look at this, so we don't feel super rushed, but there is some time, we can keep it on the mind.
So we got 9 months. But maybe the big thing. And also, then we need to drill down from the outside. What exactly does it mean? What exactly does it mean going forward? And find a program to go back to different time for where they go, what's the top.
About, it's like so many neat ideas like a carousel. How about, a carried carousel for the park? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Gonna make that.
That's right, he's gonna whittle the tree down into a carousel.
Come on, guys. No, I think it's awesome.
This would be a lot of fun.
It will be.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be.
It should be a lot of fun. It's scary. People don't see it.
And don't forget about Midland Train. Midland, the Colorado Midland. Having some tribute, the fact that it's passed through both parks.
And I would say. We got over to about half of the video part.
And I go,
All right, so we can do that.
So,
Ron, what's another before that?
punching hole.
So that's a great-
Pre-planning. Board has to give us authority. Asking. We could get direction from Mayor Todd as to how we should proceed. Since it, I guess he was the conduit of this knowledge and information. Can be blended into the master plan, park master. So we're already authorized to do that. That's why I said, should we, let's ask Mayor Todd to get some direction. Yes.
It used to be a rock top and now that it's all like the flow and everything across, so we're gonna be able to, the bridge is something. Yeah, and not everything, not really using the plan to do that, you have to have.
Bridge. Problems with the bridge and the last stuff.
No, going across for the Thomas Trail.
Connected to the Thomas Trail.
Yeah.
When we got the light enlightenment, we've been discussing, and we've talked several times. It's going to be 5 feet. raining, the grant, the reaction that the Harrison utility was taken, which rain South Academy. Have they come back to us to state that how much rain we're doing, the wider flow is so long? The flow is augmented substantially. You can see that at the pages up above. They have not spoken and not passed on any comment on when that's gonna happen and when that's gonna happen.
Well, it's part of the process of emptying the reservoir.
Right.
It's going to increase your normal flow no matter what.
They should have a projection of what, how much flow they're gonna have to deal with. And whether this.
I'm sure they do. Not with the high water flow. I've looked at several times with the idea of building a bridge across that area. It's doable. It's just, I don't think there's enough time in this season before it freezes. And once it freezes up, nobody's gonna be crossing.
Just to comment, the matrix and note, and if I read this correctly, we didn't speak to some of the college from utilities. The passing on the general understanding that the trail group stuff.
It's hearsay. Anyway.
They do have the capacity to do that. Whether they're doing that or not, I have no idea. But I do know one thing, the catamount must increase in flow in order to ever get that reservoir going. And it's either that or crystal. Yeah. And I don't think my personal opinion is they're stonewalling because they have potential liability to damages from letting their water in.
So. Is there anything that can stop it?
I think the warning sign is adequate for public protection. It's just like during the winter time, people still go up there in those ice flows and they do so at their own peril and their own, climbing experience.
Even without the augmented flow, the old wooden bridge, the Falls Road bridge becomes an ice skating rink. It's very, very treacherous, and it properly should be warned to the public. That would still increase the possibility of going up Belvedere to reach the forest trail of the Catamount and go on. That gives us Catamount and Bratton both open, and a one-way access along Thomas. That's really a sufficient coverage.
about one line water. I mean, they put two on the opposite side, I put it on the catamaran side, I put it on the welcome center and have them. So we do have, you know, we do have this sign up for business.
To follow up on that though, because of the number of signs that have been posted and removed on Thomas. Reposting the high water level sign on Thomas would be appropriate. So we should get a copy, we have a couple of those. Yeah. But that's a very simple package to respond to this concern. And we've been making the ambassador group have been making commentary on the water levels on at crossing Catamount Creek for some time.
Well, and, yeah, and the garden that you were talking about, it was in the water, today and last Wednesday. Our sheriff went up there and unclogged quite a few dams because it was going over to the state. And it is now,
Relief.
it's relieved, but it's, you know, it's a little money that it's not in the water. So that's been.
A large guy, she warned him that her dog was getting too close to her. She was like, she was running it out and the other children could talk. And she was going to go. Lots of problems. Down, but it is part of the process. So I have. He also was one of so I'm gonna do some personal hygiene for the field.
I think that's a reasonable first step.
Yeah, and I do have something. So that's one way of saying dog needs and because it protects your dog from other wildlife. So we need to know.
Unfortunately, we have that right in town. People insist that their dog don't need, get my English right, teacher. Their dog does not need a leash until they do.
But my code
I understand that, but where's the code enforcement? I mean, we have a code here, we have law enforcement, and there's no enforcement. We may have to get a team up there on the mountain. Or,
That's not true, because our neighbor has some brand new neighbors using their dog. And brand new neighbors, dog got, were not on a leash, went to her back, the other neighbor's backyard. And she brought him back to that neighbor and said, if we can keep him on a leash, if you really help, I'm gonna call the marshal.
Yeah.
Today they came back to her, and so she did call the marshal.
well, I didn't say they didn't respond.
Yeah.
But there's no random, I mean, I see dogs in the creek park, pool park, everything with no leashes. I saw one, were you there? Maybe the girl that got scared from the German Shepherd started crying. Okay. But, I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't respond if you call the marshal's office, they come and take care of the situation, but it'd be so much better. I mean, they put a brand new sign in there that says dogs must be leashed for them to do a walkthrough and just get acquainted and say, hey, the people that do it all the time, just say, hey, look, this is your warning, but if you bring your dog in here again, I'm gonna write you a ticket. Thank you.
Following the factors. So that. I mean, you have an opportunity to for it. You have to have the same thing. And you have to hold it. Either way to increase enforcement.
It's,
If it's visible, we have a good marshal. He understands something that's going on. His eyes can't be everywhere. If we pass it on, we'll be more sensitive.
anyway, we're
To that. When you have strong line, so the car. We could have really lost. Serious. And we are doing, us do it. We have. There's that something.
When you were in the country, somewhere near the kid, and I know that was back on down the street, but.
about a flash flood warning sign.
Yeah,
along with that.
Let's keep bringing it back. Because we have to be honest with, pretty much the injected.
I happened to be at the PC meeting last night and there was a motion that was moved forward to the board on adding a job responsibility, not a person, not additional personnel, but a job responsibility to someone on town staff that would define code enforcement. So if that happens, then we at least have a go-to person for that type of thing.
If we had anyone out of the universe who posted things that are happening in town, they could bring something issues to light. That's all I have for correspondence. My goal of being not to be talked about 5:30 today.
So you got 4 minutes.
I know, Don, is there anything that you want to report for?
Yes, but it's gonna take more than 4 minutes.
Get on, start.
Well, you need to leave by 10 for me, so you have 14 minutes of really.
Is there any chance that anybody you have a picture of the parking lot that was
There's a
Jay-
modification. Yeah,
yeah,
I have that on my computer. I can either send it to Jesse or.
No, I didn't get any pictures of them.
So to begin, while he's looking at that, had a great weekend. And that we broke the over 90 people at the pool. And we had adequate staff, adequate lifeguards, everything went well. We generated more donations than we ever did. And I was just very happy with the outcome. Mechanically, we're still moving forward. Everything's still working with Band-Aids on. I have just gained so much experience working that area of the park system, and that next year, I know we can improve in so many different areas. And just having, and then of course, I'm a volunteer and I love volunteers, but volunteers need to be trained. They can't just show up. And when we're diving into a pool of 20, 12, 24, whatever, it's very difficult to accomplish that, an integral training part, i.e. The head lifeguard calls a volunteer meeting 7 o'clock in the morning. Granted, that's early, and volunteers don't usually get up that early, but nobody showed up. It was supposed to be for some training. That was early on in our program. But anyway, this is to say that while I can't really justify a paid desk clerk because it just eat up all of our donations, I think that with a few select volunteers that could be trained properly, we could even handle cash. I mean, it's not a hard process, but when you were working with a video camera on accounting for cash. But nevertheless, it's just like when I was, Mike Fry, I was working with Mike Fry on this, but he unintentionally was standing in front of the camera while he was handling the cash box. And so I have to say, no, Mike, you need to stand back and let the camera see the cash box and you count the cash out, that sort of thing. But, were you going to say something?
No, well, I'm hearing from your reports and needs.
Oh,
And it's almost that time of year that PRT will be submitting our budget to the board. Last year, we submitted our budget without the pool and came along later and put together a plan to run the pool. So I think what would be smart is for you to go ahead and draft a plan to run the pool for next year, and let's include it in our PRT budget.
Okay.
And I'm not sure when that budget needs to,
It's usually October.
right, but it's August now, so
3 months. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right.
so will you start working on a draft and let us know when we put it on the agenda for next time? I think that's a way to get what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Um,
and the other thing is I want to give kudos to Mayor Todd because he made his inroads to the administration of the pool project and was able to generate, at least to the end of August, a lifeguard schedule. And it's critical to know whether we're going to be open or closed, whether we need to be searching for somebody to replace, because we did lose one of our lifeguards last weekend. She ended her tenure with the town and is moving on to college. But I'm just very pleased with the progress that we've made. There's a lot more administrative progress that we could make in the future. But I think once the board sees the success that we've had with the community, that they'll be on board for a bigger budget next year.
That would be also, I'd also like to point out that would be one of, this is, first off, this is the drawing you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we could
send a
get that up
copy to
on the
Jesse.
screen, I could run through that real quick. Give you an update.
While you're getting that up though, this
we're on the town's computer, so I don't have access to email.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right. Anyway, we have, here's the parking lot. Where you come in, where you turn around. So, it's not unusual that if you have a good plan on paper, it doesn't, also always pan out as good as you think it looks gonna paper. And what happened, basically, we end up with the fence, the fence is finished. I'm working on a stairway and I hope to have that finished up tomorrow. But we have more space than we need for a turnaround. And so I'm thinking, I would like to know what you guys think by adding a few parking places within the fenced area.
Where would you say that you've got more space? You've got a car here as a model. And the fence runs here. You got two short sections of fence on either side of that.
We could probably, depending on how we pitch the parking places,
Mhm.
4, 6 places,
6.
6.
And that include the ability to still have a nice drop off lane.
I would, yeah, that's
And-
imperative to
and
me.
accessible parking.
Yes, that would include, I just don't see us needing more than one handicap. We've only had one person request it and they were not incapacitated. The only person that we did that was a paraplegic didn't have a car. He drove his wheelchair in, so.
Well, I think based on our permission that we're working on this project. With permission granted by the Board of Trustees. I think that still is within that scope, and so, yes, if you think it's doable, work it in.
Definitely easy peasy 4 places, okay, maybe 6, depending on how I lay it out in a lot, and I'll make sure, I'll test it, make sure we still got adequate turn. Well, that's great. I just wanted to get clearance on that before I change any plan. Yes, ma'am.
So 4, maybe 6 plus the handicap.
No, including the handicap.
Okay, including, so
So
the
three-
4.
three
and
plus the handicap.
6 would be including the handicap.
Yes, ma'am.
So while we're still talking about the pool. I would really like to have a end of the summer. Evening at the pool. Town celebration. I think of having a food truck there. Inviting citizens to wear Hawaiian shirts. and
Luau.
coming to have an evening at the pool sounds like a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I gave away all my Hawaiian shirts because I said,
I've
I will
got
never
plenty.
wear those up here.
Your orange.
Oh.
You, then no one will know you if you don't wear orange. I can loan you a Hawaiian shirt though to wear over that.
How about a leg? You got
So.
a
can we-
plastic
can we
leg.
pick a
I
date?
can get some.
Well, we should pick it. I think the pool is closed. It's open until Labor Day, correct? The pool.
Not unless we find some additional lifeguards.
But I mean,
So John, help us pick a date for that. Like Saturday night. If I don't know.
we could do it this Saturday after Labor Day, not unless the pool has to be drained right away. I mean,
I know we'll need a lifeguard, so maybe you want to get with your lifeguard.
Bradley would be a potential for that. He's here in town. He won't be going to school.
and so September 9th is a Saturday after Labor Day. You know, if the pool does officially close on Labor Day, but then we have an end of the season party, that would be after the pool closed and the last hurrah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay,
Want me to work on that?
September 9th,
September 9th,
is that Saturday
that's a Saturday.
afternoon or evening?
If we're gonna have a food truck, it could be.
It could be like 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 or something. Yeah.
4 to 8 sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyone else have reports?
May I finish up on the pool?
Yes.
What's our budget? You told me the other day we had a budget for the PRT that we might be able to spend on the fence.
Do you, Nancy, you researched that?
Oh.
Last year, we did get a budget approved for repainting the pool fence.
I have it right here.
Whoa. Yeah, give her a raise.
Right, now double her salary.
So. Yeah, all the green are like the repair split fence, so there's 250 there, 250 here. This was in gazebo park, this was in pool park, 250, 250, so that's 500. 500 in the budget.
What about the privacy fence or the was,
Oh, that was, let me get the glass of it. Repair the fence or that surrounds, that was 2,000.
that's what Jesse said. Whoa,
Wow.
give you a raise.
Actually worked.
Very good.
Yeah, so that's the fence around the pool.
Right.
And it was to repair, repaint fence that surrounds the pool inside also, and that's 2,000. And that was part of the budget we got approved.
So I'm not saying this can get done in the fall, but if it could, are we authorized to move forward with the
Purchasing paint and
getting restoration on the privacy
It was
fence?
okayed in the budget, so,
Well, I'm asking you guys, I mean, before I go out and
Yeah,
start.
we don't
trying
spend
to
it, we
fence that.
use it.
yes.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Last but not least, in the parking lot here.
Yeah.
You know,
I got the parking lot.
you drive in, this is the pool building right here. And there's a flower garden right here and right here. And the steps go up into the building, right? Okay, so our new entrance will be coming in, drop off. We do a loop around, but over here with the fence in, there's another square unused area. I thought would be appropriate if we create another flower planter over here in the parking lot
Come on.
to kind
Show
of
me where you want it.
balance out. Right in this corner.
Okay.
Where the porta pot used to be.
Yeah.
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 I will take the initiative. I'll walk this through with Don. And I'll change this rendering to match what you believe, what you want to, the physical reality that goes with this.
Yeah, I need your input for the aesthetic value that it would create. I mean, it's okay without it, but I think it'd be better with it. It'd create more of a
Do
balance.
you think it's something that needs to be done this season or in the spring?
It could be created now and planted in the spring.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna have some dirt available to
Oh,
me.
that's right, all the dirt you took out from the back. I mean, that's good dirt.
Yeah. And
Mm.
so that was my plan. But I'm gonna have some dirt that the town wants to deal with. And so my plan was making a planter out of it. If not, it's just gonna go in a ditch somewhere.
So Don, the plan would be right in this corner here. Handicap parking would remain here or
It
move.
won't fit there.
Okay,
And the final analysis that it just got too narrow
yeah,
with there, so handicap will be back on this.
John,
one.
would it trouble you too much to sketch it up for us?
To what?
Just sketch it up, or Jay, could you sketch it up for us to review on the next?
what I think we should do is I should sit down, I should go down and visit with Don.
We'll walk it
Tomorrow.
out.
Yeah, we'll walk it through and take the measurements. This was based just on our conversation. And it does not, there is a scale on this overhead shot. I could
Yeah.
attach a scale and make this a little more reasonable.
And
I
then
don't have,
send
I
it to
don't,
Me when you're done, so I can put it in the agenda
Right.
pack.
but I don't have Carla Chapman's, degree of landscape control, but it would be
If you send
represented.
it to me, then we can decide if it's within the purview of what we've already been permitted to do or not.
Yes,
And if it is, then we can greenlight it through email vote. And if not, we will submit it
Mhm.
for permission, but it's most likely within the permissions of what we are.
Okay,
Pass this card around for thank yous.
yeah. And the other is just the report from friends, and that was basically what we, how we mitigated the flooded trail.
right. I do have a comment about mitigation as well. Following a discussion on Saturday, Gene and I went into a section of the meadow that's going to be Historic Green Mountain Falls Foundation Horse Ranch. We moved 3 in a space that is well less than an acre. We took out 3 32-gallon garbage bags of thistles. That probably is an area that we should bring up to the Friends group. Vigilante bay type removals along the trail itself could be effective. But the amount of thistle and potential thistle and mullein in that general area is enormous. And it may be something that you want to approach on a more systematic basis, either as a part of a community cleanup or a community action day. I know you commented that the proposal from historic barn building and so forth might make it unnecessary to mitigate a portion of the ground because there'll be some dirt movement. But knowing where that is, there's still huge amounts of material there.
There's a seed of what this will not fit in.
Mhm.
Well, you had a ranch,
Thistle, I'm sorry. Musk thistle.
you had a ranch, you must have dealt with it back in Oklahoma City, right?
Yes.
That's the way it needs to be dealt with here. A regular maintenance program. And it'll probably take 2 or 3 months for it to be eradicated.
I think if we can go out. D had.
That's all you can do at this time of year, is just dehead it.
Because the plants are then gonna be moved, via machinery. It's all gonna get straight. But if we can get rid of it, if we can deadhead them next week. Yeah.
And then in the future, you get your hand to wick them. If you don't want to do spot spraying with some herbicide killer. Yeah.
Before they get like doing that.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna adjourn this at 5:04 p.m. Thanks for being in a long meeting.
Yeah.
But we're getting good at those.
We got a lot done.
I'm in town tomorrow if you want to go through this, otherwise you can do something Monday next week.
I'll be down there all day tomorrow, working on the steps. So
Okay.
calm down.
Do you want a
Sure,
warm body to
convenience.
help you
You done?
rip out anything?
All done.
Done.
All I do is cut.
Turn off your mic.